our firefighters are going to refuse the vaccine. I worry about our law enforcement because many of those individuals are going to refuse the vaccine. And we've already seen this play out in the healthcare industry where we've got millions of nurses and doctors walking off the job. So this is going to come to a head. But to answer your question, that's the reason why the progressives feel like they're right here, is because they think that their worldview justifies telling the rest of society what to do.
Absolutely. The thing about those dangerous precedents, once they're set, they impact us all. Congressman Obanoti, thank you so much. As always, God bless you. We'll talk to you again soon.
Always good to see you, Joe.
Coming up, the resistance to the Biden vaccine mandates notches a big legal victory. We will discuss with Louisiana Attorney General Jeff Landry when we return.
The new socialists in Washington want your wealth, and they are raising taxes to do it. But now you can stop them by creating a guaranteed stream of tax-free income that they can't touch. In the new book, Tax-Free Income for Life, best-selling author David McKnight shows you how you can lock in guaranteed tax-free income that will last as long as you do. Whether you have more than $1 million saved or less than $100,000 set aside for your golden years, you can enjoy tax-free income for life. Get your free copy today. Supplies are limited, so act now.
People everywhere living with type 2 diabetes are waking up to what's possible with Rybelsus. Rybelsus works differently than any other diabetes pill to lower blood sugar in all 3 of these ways. Increases insulin when you need it, decreases sugar, and slows food. The majority of people taking Rybelsus lowered their blood sugar and reached an A1C of less than 7. People taking Rybelsus lost up to 8 pounds. Rybelsus isn't for people with type 1 diabetes. Don't take Rybelsus if you or your family ever had medullary thyroid cancer, or have multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2, or if allergic to it. Stop Rybelsus and get medical help right away if you get a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, or an allergic reaction. Serious side effects may include pancreatitis. Tell your provider about vision problems or changes. Taking Rybelsus with a sulfonylurea or insulin increases low blood sugar risk. Side effects like nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea may lead to dehydration, which may worsen kidney problems. Wake up to what's possible with Rybelsus. You may pay as little as $10 per prescription. Ask your healthcare provider about Rybelsus today.
Well, my name is Arnold Pope, and my wife Luann. December of this year will make it 70 years that we've been married, and that's the biggest chunk of our life has been together. We've been taking Balance of Nature since the early 2000s. We've just really been blessed, and I credit a lot of that to Balance of Nature, and it's part of my prayer every day that I'll be strong enough that I can, that I could give her the assistance that she needs, and certainly keeping yourself healthy and Balance of Nature has been a very important part of that for us. So that's what we've done.
Start your journey to better health. Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off your first preferred order. Don't forget to use discount code Newsmax.
And welcome back to John Bachman Now. I'm Joe Pinion, filling in for John Bachman. Well, a federal appeals court is temporarily blocking the Biden administration's vaccine mandate or weekly testing plan for private businesses with 100 or more employees. Let's find out more on that from Newsmax national correspondent Logan Raddick, who joins us now live from Washington. Logan, what is the latest on the struggle in the courts over these mandates?
Well, Joe, that three-judge panel on the Fifth Circuit Court ruled a temporary stay on the Biden's vaccine mandate for private businesses through OSHA, and the Biden administration actually has until 5 o'clock tonight to respond. Now, the judges, they said that the ruling gives, quote, grave statutory and constitutional issues, and the mandate, if it were to go into place, would take effect on January 4th. Private businesses that have 100 or more employees would then either have to have their employees vaccinated, or if they weren't, they'd have to be tested weekly and would have to wear masks if they were unvaccinated. So the non-compliance fees would start, fines rather, would start off at around $14,000. So a lot of these businesses simply can't afford that, and that is something that the judges on this panel said. They wrote in part, quote, "The administration's unnecessary mandate is trampling state police powers, imposing new burdens on employers when they can least afford it." And legal experts are also saying there's a chance this could go to the Supreme Court. However, White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain says he believes the Biden administration will be able to put this mandate into place once January 4th rolls around. But it's having a negative impact on the polling numbers for both the president and the vice president. Latest polls have come out, and they show that President Biden's approval rating is at just 38%, while Vice President Kamala Harris's approval rating, hers is at 28%. So these mandates could have something to do with it. But again, the Biden administration has until 5 o'clock tonight Eastern time to respond to this injunction.
All right, thanks, Logan. Joining us now to discuss Louisiana Attorney General Jeff Landry. Thank you so much for joining us. You and other attorney generals, you have been engaged in this fight to have more accountability when it surrounds these mandates. How is that working for you? I know Mississippi, Texas, South Carolina, and Utah have petitioned and sought an emergency stay against the Department of Labor's OSHA root mandates. What's the latest there?
Well, I think it's working out great for us. I think you saw that in the Fifth Circuit Court panel that announced the stay on Saturday. The interesting part about that, and there's a lot of confusion, Joe, about all of these mandates, and I try to put them like in three different buckets, right? So the first bucket is federal contract workers, those that receive funds off of federal contracts, or say universities that receive federal funding. Louisiana actually led a suit with a number of states and filed action in federal court and district court on Thursday. Then on Friday, the OSHA rule was then published. And of course, that was the rule from the instructions from President Biden when he uttered those famous words in September that it's not about freedom. It took the administration 90 days to get to where we are today. And as soon as they published that those emergency rules, we filed suit. And of course, and we saw other businesses join us as well on Friday. And we saw the Court of Appeals take action on Saturday, and we look forward to and it will have until 5 p.m. tomorrow to answer that. Then the court will take up a more permanent, whether or not they'll institute a more permanent injunction, and we hope that they do.
Absolutely. I think, sometimes people get bogged down in all the legal minutia, but I think one thing is really clear. It almost seems as if the government has structured a scenario where between themselves and the drug companies, everyone is to blame, and so no one is responsible. As this kind of circular firing squad that never actually gets to the heart of the issue, because if they have indemnified the drug companies into perpetuity, if they have indemnified the FDA into perpetuity for any and everything that goes wrong with these vaccines, to me the crux of the issue becomes, if a business is having people take this drug via a mandate, who is culpable there? Is it the government, or is it the businesses that are going to turn around and say, I didn't make you take the vaccine, the government did?
Well, Joe, that's exactly why we appreciate you and Newsmax, is that somebody's got to stop this circling fire squad, as you put it. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to say, hey, look, the federal government is absolutely overreaching. And I think that the language of the court on Saturday spoke volumes to that. That, look, the policing power inherently belongs to the states, not to the federal government. And they're encroaching upon what has primarily been a state's rights, or places under which the state occupies the entire field. That's how you start to stop this circling fire squad, is when someone comes up and says, you know what, enough is enough, and you are out of order.
Absolutely. To that point, from your legal perspective, what is the remedy at this juncture for the individual who finds themselves, obviously we know percentage-wise, statistically speaking, it's a small percentage, but for somebody who finds themselves in need of whether it's health assistance or financial assistance as a result of this vaccine, who do they turn to? Because as you know, again, they can't turn to the government. The government has indemnified themselves, they've indemnified the drug companies. There appears to be nobody who is on the hook, or even if you don't want to see it as on the hook, who has set aside resources and monies to make sure that those individuals can get the care and that they deserve.
Well, you know, interestingly enough, the question is posed as to whether or not employers who are mandating these shots upon their employees, whether or not there is any liability for adverse reaction that those employees ultimately end up receiving. Because again, like you said, there is no liability on the drug manufacturers. There's no liability on the government. But those employers that are going out there and placing those types of policies on their own, the question becomes is, if I'm an employee and I say, I really don't want this shot, and you as the employer say, yes, you're going to take it, and then so I'm basically coerced. I'm basically admitting or consenting under duress, and then I take the shot, and there's an adverse reaction. The question is there any civil liability outside of workman's comp that those employers might face? And that's going to be an interesting question that I think plaintiffs' lawyers out there are looking at right now.
Absolutely. Well, Attorney General Jeff Landry, as always, thank you so much. Glad to have you on the case for the American people, my friend. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you, Joe.
All right. Well, testimony continues for the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. We will bring you the latest on that and more. Stick with us. You're watching John Bachman Now here on Newsmax. Keep it locked.
This country was made by tax rebels, freedom fighters, gold seekers, believers, lovers, and true patriots. We're Newsmax, and we're their heirs, and so are you. Newsmax TV, real news for real people.
Come on, Caleb, you got this.
And if you don't, there are other options.
Good eye, good eye.
Eyes are good for lots of things, like reading.
Be the best, Caleb.
Statistically impossible, Caleb.
Quickly, you'll get him next time.
Or you won't. Probably won't. And it won't impact your future whatsoever.
Talk to us about college planning today. Feel comfortable about tomorrow. Mass Mutual.
Shriners Hospitals for Children is awesome. My favorite people in Shriners are the doctors and the nurses because they help people through life.
Wow, I was a really cute kid. But it's true, Shriners Hospitals for Children is awesome. The first time I went to Shriners Hospitals for Children, I was 2 months old. Since then, they have helped me with over 18 operations and thousands of rehabilitation hours. Because of their care, now I live a full, independent life. I got my driver's license, and I'm going to college. Your monthly gift provides me and so many other kids with the care we need to just be kids. When you call right now and give just $19 a month, only 63 cents a day, we'll send you this adorable blanket as a reminder of the journey you helped me make and the journey you're helping other kids make too. Please, do me a favor. Pick up the phone and call this special number to give your monthly gift. Or go online to loveshriners.org right away to give your monthly support.
It's amazing to know that there's someone looking out for me and my family.
And it isn't just the doctors and nurses who have been looking out for me. It was you. When you call or go online to give, I know you care and are looking out for me and all my other friends at Shriners Hospitals for Children.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for giving.
So let's keep this amazing story going with your monthly gift right now. What do you say? All you have to do is pick up your phone or go to loveshriners.org and you'll be a part of something special too. Thank you so much.
And welcome back to John Bachman Now. I'm Joe Pinion in for John Bachman. Testimony continues today in the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse as prosecutors try to convict the 18-year-old in the shootings of 3 people during a protest against police brutality in Wisconsin back in August of 2020. Now, prosecutors are trying to paint him as an inexperienced teenager who misrepresented his age and medical training to other armed civilians in his group. On that night today, a man who was shot and wounded in the arm by Rittenhouse took the stand. A town hall reporter, Julio Rosas, has been covering the trial from Kenosha. He was on National Report last hour. Here's that update from him.
So today the prosecution has kind of called their ultra star witness Gage Grosskreutz. I'm messing up his last name, but he was, as you said, he was the 3rd person that was shot by Kyle Rittenhouse after Gage attempted to shoot Rittenhouse when Rittenhouse was still on the ground, and this was after he shot Anthony Huber. He did kill him. Huber hit Rittenhouse with a skateboard and attempted to take the gun away before he was shot. And so right now he's still testifying, and they have gone over basically his qualifications, Gage's qualifications as an actual licensed paramedic. Although what is interesting, though, is that he admitted that he had an expired concealed carry license on the night of the shooting. And so technically he shouldn't have been carrying, or at least he wasn't lawfully carrying his concealed handgun. And so that's something I just found out today. And what we also know is that a friend of Gage visited him in the hospital. And according to his friend on Facebook, the only thing that Gage regretted was that he didn't empty his whole magazine into Rittenhouse before he got shot. So we'll see what the defense brings up in cross-examination. But after this, the prosecution will be resting, and then it'll be the defense team up for that.
All right, let's bring in our panel host of the Dan O'Donnell Show on News Talk 1130 in Milwaukee, Dan O'Donnell, and host of the Ari Hoffman Show on 570 KVI, Ari Hoffman himself. Dan, I'll start with you. This trial continues to provide new details. Last week, we learned of unseen footage taken by the FBI from the night of the shootings. The FBI allegedly had an HD version of the video, but never told the Rittenhouse defense it existed. It seems like a mistake that shouldn't happen on a case of this national significance.
And in fact, I think I'm going to break some news right here, Joe, that I actually just was provided by a law enforcement source with a longer version of that tape than the one that has been seen on camera. This was just provided to me while I was sitting waiting to go on with you. I've had a chance to review part of it. And what it does show, it's footage from a spy plane that seems to show the crowd following Rittenhouse right before he opened fire on those 3 men. Yes, this, I believe, withholding evidence would be grounds for the dismissal of these cases. I